Welcome to London, Ontario, and more specifically to Grosvenor Lodge. We've assembled a team of archaeologists who are here today to uncover what lies beneath this 170-year-old manor home. The last archaeological dig done here at Grosvenor Lodge in the 1990s uncovered a wealth of artifacts illustrating life here in the 19th century. They found things like ceramics, an 1859 1-cent piece, as well as some bones. But what will our archaeologists find here today?
So we're digging a shovel test pit for an archaeological assessment. So basically what we're doing is digging a hole down to subsoil for all the topsoil, screening through the screen to see if there's any artifacts in it to tell us if there's something here of significance. So I'm just going to talk us through it just so you can see what I'm doing. But again, it's fairly straightforward. First step is usually removing the sod cap. So taking the sod off, and this helps especially on properties like this with the backfilling, so that we eliminate or reduce the amount of trip hazards afterwards. Also helps the soils and grass to settle afterwards, so there's few issues later on, and hopefully limit the long-term impact of our assessment. Next, we want to dig the hole with a shovel. We're roughly 30 centimeters in diameter, and it's all done by hand. And what we're watching for at this point is soil changes, color changes, gravel, stones, roots, anything like that that could tell us that something might be changing or going on with soils, and whether it's natural, like trees, or if it's something caused by humans in the past that they've dug something up, buried something, what have you. This is the boring part, digging. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm hitting a lot of stone and gravel, so trying to get around and dig that up. If it is a consistent gravel layer or something intact, could be something made. But in this property here, we've seen so far a lot of natural stone underneath and at the lower levels that we just need to work through and get out to the intact subsoil. We're starting to see some color change in the soil, so the topsoil here is more of a dark brown. We're starting to get more of a yellowy orange starting to come up, so it's usually a sign that we're coming up on top of subsoil. We still need to go a bit in, and the subsoil is basically where the glacier scraped through and took all of the overlying soils on it. So even though there probably were people who were living before that glacier went through, there's nothing left of what in these areas of that period of time. So that's how we know that it's anything below that, in most instances, is not cultural or of archaeological concern. So we're about 35 centimeters down, and that's about consistent for this area. And now we screen the soils to see if there's any artifacts in that pit. So again, this is a screen. This is what we call a rocker screen. It's got a 1/4-inch mesh, and basically by moving the screen and shaking it, letting all the loose soil and the small rocks and small things go through to capture any artifacts, stones, rocks. In this property, we're mostly concerned about 19th century materials tied to the occupation of the Grosvenor family, house and lodge. But we're also aware for indigenous artifacts, because there are sites around, and those are usually stone tools, pottery, bone, those types of things. But to date, we haven't found anything so far. See, the loose sand goes through, and now it's left with the stones and chunkier stuff. And so breaking up the chunkier, more concrete chunks and moving the rest of it through to try to make it as clean as possible, to make it as easy as possible for me to go through and identify what artifacts may or may not be here. So this Might be a piece of ceramic, but it's hard to tell until I get it cleaned up. So I'll keep that, take it to the office, and just to make sure. So there's nothing else in here, so take what I found, I'm going to put it in the bag so we can record it, and keep it, and wash it for future analysis. And then we'll backfill the pit as best we can, so we make it as like we weren't here as much as we possible, because we don't want to limit our presence on the property. Backfilling here, we're using tarps for screen on backfill. It makes it quicker to backfill. Also makes it easier so we can limit the mess and the disturbance of us here. So it's not something we always do, but on lawns or properties where there is a trip hazard, something we try to take extra care of. Return the sod cap, temp it down, and then we'll often bring a large tamper to prevent that there's any future trip hazards from this pit. And that's digging a test pit. Mid to late 19th century.
Okay.
So, but again, that's sort of what we would expect, and this is sort of what we would expect to find.
Okay. So one of the interesting things that the archaeologists are doing to keep track of what they're finding is whenever in a test pit, when they find an artifact, they put a flag with the bag that's holding the artifact. Then they have the site director go to all of these spots, collect the bag with the artifact, so they're able to carefully record where the artifacts are coming out of the ground. Then they cross-reference this with some surveying that was done earlier, and then that way it's very precise and they know exactly what came from which location. Thank you so much for joining us on this spectacular investigation into the grounds surrounding Grosvenor Lodge. We hope you enjoyed getting an inside glimpse into the daily work done by archaeologists in order to preserve our much loved heritage.